hurt. So we understand how it works in the physical realm, and it carries that energy spiritually.
That's mad deep.
Yeah.
So in regards to religion, because when I was reading about the psychedelic experiences, and they were saying how, like, with the stuff they drank, like, not that they were trying to have psychedelic experiences, these things just naturally occurring, like mushrooms and fungus and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if religion is, as we understand it, a consequence of psychedelic experiences, does that make religion fake or even more real in that sense? Because it's a form of reality that some might deem real, some might deem fake.
Yeah.
But how does that translate into some of the practices? Because a lot of people have based so much of their life of people basically being high.
Yeah. And then coming around years later to say being high is wrong.
Yeah.
We're going to shut it down because it's handing that power back to the leader of that religious institution. Religion itself is the culture, to answer that.
Okay.
The religion, what you see, like the doctrine, everything that's written around it, the way to be, the way to act, that is culture. And I can talk about Christianity because it's what I know. A lot of that was designed in a way to keep people underfoot specifically. True Christianity, where you go back...
What, Ethiopia?
Ethiopia, yeah, when you go back, that's a very different thing. That is about getting in touch with the archetype of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ being higher consciousness. And it's something that you can tap into whether you're a Christian or not, as an or be a woman. You know, I can imagine in the comment section there's going to be a lot of people saying, "Oh, she needs Jesus." Bitch, I found Jesus. I know how to work with Jesus.
I saw him on shrooms.
I saw him on shrooms.
New questions every day. How's a brother supposed to sleep?
Listen, I give youngers books.
Trying to educate myself as I'm running through these streets.
There's no such thing as black and black crime.
You can hit us in the DMs if you want the smoke.
Pew, pew, pew. Not sure where the conversation's gonna go.
But did you do your research? Yeah, I wanna know.
That's the life of a domino. It's the
Domino
domino
effect.
effect.
Oh, sure. She was just, not to be cynical, but how many years she got left? That's old.
Every time people meet her, they're like, "Wow, are you sure she's 15?" I'm like, "Yeah, she's 15."
She's a spring chicken.
She just runs everywhere. She's noisy. She's demanding. She gets what she wants when she wants it.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sometimes I do feel like the way I pose questions, I do think I'm borderline autistic sometimes. I was just like, why did you ask it like that? Like, how am I supposed to ask it?
Well, you asked it how you wanted to ask it.
Is it Luna making friends?
Good old loons.
Hi, Luna. Oh, you probably shouldn't eat the microphone. Hello. Do you want Luna back? I'm happy to have Luna.
Oh, if you're happy to hold her, I don't mind.
Yeah. Is there anything I should be doing to keep her calm?
Nah, if she gets too excited, just put it down and I'll call her and just hold on to her.
Okay.
She just loves people too much.
You can stay with me for a bit.
All right, let's go.
Oh, send me that vid actually.
Sorry?
Send me that vid. I didn't take any videos.
Oh, the one I just did, yeah?
Yeah. Send it to me.
Are you going to ask me blunt questions today?
Potentially.
Potentially.
To me, they're normal questions, but to you, you might find them blunt, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm sure everyone's got a different way of communicating.
Yeah, mine's very special, I've been told. You know, when even family members tell you it, you're like, yeah, it's true.
Yeah. No, my brother's very blunt with the way he asks things. I'm very used to.
We'd probably get on quite well then, to be fair.
All right, boom. Where do you live again?
St Albans.
You don't drive, do you?
No.
Because I know that's what Junction 23.
You might as well be speaking Swahili. I don't know roads, darling.
No, I've been working in St Albans recently. Actually, St Albans have a place where they sell poutine. Have you had poutine before?
Yeah, the House of Poutine.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
I went to school in the St Albans, bro.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Where?
Like, I lived in Luton, went to school in St Albans.
Oh,
Went to Verulam.
okay.
Verulam
Oh,
school.
Verulam.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Have you always lived in St Albans?
I'm from around here. I'm from Forest Gate.
Really?
Yeah, you did say you're from Forest Gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said last
said
time.
that?
She said you're from
Yeah, I
Forest
did.
Gate. Yeah.
Because there's zero Forest Gate energy.
Well, she actually smells nice.
Nah, because
Yeah, I'm from Gate. I went to Forest Gate Community.
I'm from Gate, you know. Look, she's rolled. What?
From the Aries.
Look at someone looking at her. Look at her.
It's not food, Baba. It's not food.
We need to do something to celebrate Ed's 35th birthday. Yeah, we need to pop this one away.
Today?
Nah, but it was on Friday, 28.
Oh, yeah, to throw that in there. Yeah.
Just told me 35.
Oh, you believed it?
I don't know what to believe anymore. How old are you, darling?
28.
Okay.
28.
How long have you been 28 for?
Quite a few years
right.
still.
Is that the Nigerian in me coming out now? Yeah. Nah.
No, you 28.
I'm 28.
Okay. Wow. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
The wow was a
Thank you.
shock. Did you hear the shock?
No, it's the level of intellect, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, genuinely.
Oh, thank you.
that's a good
Thank you.
compliment.
There's
It
like a
is.
confidence that it seems like an older confidence. Does that
I
make
do
sense?
get told, like when I do, because obviously I can be very playful and ignorant, but when I do have proper conversations,
Have to
people
pop
do
that.
seem to say quite a lot that like they do that come across older than what I am.
Yeah.
So which I'm happy for.
When's your birthday?
8th of April, so I'm Aries.
There we go.
Yeah.
Would anyone like it?
But I'm supposed to be like fiery and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Would you like any more?
No, I'm
Yeah,
good,
okay.
thank you.
Moe?
Yeah, bro. Why not?
Are you the
So
eldest?
continue.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Why? Where's this all coming from? Like how are you like?
Cardinal energy.
Okay.
Was she sat in this spot?
Yeah, was it warm?
No, it's not that. It's I'm picking up things that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You're picking up the energy.
I reckon you both on the conversation with like to do with astrology and energy.
You should have
would be-
invited us at the same time.
I think
Looking back,
and
we would have
deep
done
in it
that.
now, like
Because so many things cross over. Like, you know, when you're talking about Obia and she was talking about Hinduism,
Yeah.
like the astrology side and
Yeah.
like the archetypes and deities and
Yeah.
esoteric. I was just like, okay, this is deja vu.
Yeah.
But you know what though? I'd love to see if there's any areas where they possibly disagree.
There
I'll give that
probably
one
are,
to Riz.
but Aries tend to be the first. They're either the first child or the first of the gender in their family, and there tends to be like a forthcomingness and a sense of responsibility that comes with that sort of level of maturity with that.
Interesting. It could both of you read me today down to a T, which is scary.
You're harder.
Oh, I'm harder.
Yeah.
It's funny because she was saying I was actually easier because actually I won't let you. What she thought of me.
It's your birthday in
impacts to
December?
October.
October. What's that then?
I am a Libra.
Libra.
Just about a Libra though. I'm like one day out from being a Scorpio.
What position? Oh, okay, that's what I'm picking up on. What? What? That was a great laugh.
I was scared.
When you feel that you can't communicate freely, do you tend to get a bit vengeful?
Yeah, I used
Spiteful?
to. Yeah, I used to. Yeah,
Okay.
I used to do that still.
So how is it that you're able to either pick up or understand these so in depth?
But you gotta remember, Jay's met us more than once though. So
True.
she's had time to gauge us.
True, but like again, guessing that well, not even guessing, but making an informed decision of me being the eldest son as a consequence of me being the Aries, and I just think it's quite interesting.
Sounds like Juju to me, to be honest.
It is Juju.
It sounds like Obia.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting though. How you been recently though? Since we last spoke anyway.
I'm doing dumb shit like trying to pick up 10 different things at once when I should only be picking up 5 different things at once. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But actually, why would you plug yourself on your project that's coming, or what is out now actually?
Yeah. So projects I've got at the moment: African Sheroes of Turtle Island. That's going to be. I don't know if this is going to be out before then. 29th of April.
Probably out before then. To be fair.
Okay, 29th of April. I'm doing a workshop with African Spiritual Traditions Instagram, where we're going to be talking about Harriet Tubman and
Oh, mad.
Marie Laveau. And Marie Laveau is a a voodoo queen.
I was gonna say I don't know her.
A voodoo.
Yeah, she's a voodoo song, and she's a legend in the sort of voodoo communities.
But where is voodoo? So is that Juju or is voodoo like what country is that then? Because Juju is obviously from West Africa. So if it's voodoo, what country does her magic come
So
from?
all of these African diasporic spiritualities, they all come from largely the west coast of Africa,
Okay.
which found their way over to the Caribbean. And when they found their way over to the Caribbean, depending on the region, depending on where the people came from, you'll like in Haiti, you'll have voodoo. In like Trinidad, Jamaica, Antigua, you'll have obia.
Why you start smiling?
Because I love talking about obia. As an obia woman, I love talking about obia.
Okay.
And of course, where it's sort of found places like New Orleans, where Marie Laveau was, that was a different form of voodoo. So similar voodoo to what's seen in Haiti, but slightly different because, of course, a different mix of people ended up there. They had the influence of the Native American teachings as well, so that would have had a slight variation there. You're looking confused.
No, I'm letting things compute. So I'm ready to start asking questions.
Yeah, well, if you think about how, what I like to look at is like business movement, business trade maps of the old world. Because when you start to look at business trade, you can really start to see where the movement of people and culture has happened. So when you're looking at pre-slave trade maps in West Africa, you're seeing all of the movement across North Africa, across South Africa, and it's all sort of culminating around the coastlines, because coastlines is where you're able to get boats and ship things, and of course, us Caribbeans know.
No, also about getting shipped, innit?
Being shipped.
Why did you think that in my head? But I
So as these people have been shipped across to the New World, and they've been placed where there are people that already exist, like Tainos, Caribs, Arawaks, they already have their own spiritual systems. They already know how to find their way around the land. It is thought in some African traditions that the Tainos that existed in the Caribbean before the Africans were forced over, they are actually descended from Egyptians themselves, but that's a whole nother conspiracy in itself.
that's not really a conspiracy. Carla talks about that.
Oh.
Yeah, and he actually has a lot of like empirical evidence, even to do with archaeology of the time when they looked at skulls from that time. The Egyptians, what they looked like, they were black people.
What, the Tainos and the Egyptians?
Well, just the Egyptians.
Okay.
That where they were taken over. Some of them were supposedly taken over to that side.
Well, if you're sort of talking to Ashanti people with oral traditions, the thought is that they originally come from like Sudan and Egypt. Sorry, darling. They originally come from sort of Sudan, the south, and they've moved their way through Egypt, and then found their way to West Africa over a period of like hundreds of years. So it is thought that Obia does descend from sort of Egyptian schools of thought originally.
Yeah, it makes sense.
The
'Cause
word-
the real Egyptians were black, no?
Yeah,
So-
yeah. And Obi itself, if you're looking at the root word, there's loads of different West African tribal explanations of the word Obi, like Ubio, Obaifo, where it's thought to be like person who curses, or healer, or herbalist. But the original word Obi, from an Egyptian position, is thought to mean snake. So it's about the order of the snake. And, you know, the snake comes up a lot of different times throughout many different religions throughout the world. And I guess the easiest one we can point to is Adam and Eve, the Adam and Eve story.
Yeah, okay.
The snake being this purveyor of, like, true knowledge, original knowledge.
Okay. So we all have, like, these preconceived notions of what voodoo is. And how I've come to be taught just from films and whatnot, which is obviously very ignorant, is that they got voodoo dolls and they use it as a form of attack and to harm and hurt
Yeah.
people. But like, just give a bit more insight into what voodoo actually is, or is that what voodoo actually is?
Voodoo is a religion.
Okay.
So I think the
Is voodoo different from voodoo, or is it that pronunciation? different?
Voodoo's the religion.
Okay.
Whereas voodoo is like the doing, the practice.
Okay.
But voodoo, I think, is the word that's become so prolific
Yeah.
within the European language. So when you think of voodoo, you think of voodoo dolls.
Yeah.
Voodoo, it comes from the Dahomey Fon word meaning spirit or God. So it's a whole religious system. It's just not the religious systems that we know in the West, which is Christianity, Islam, and Judaism.
Interesting. I was watching something actually. I actually really wanted to ask you this, but I think I was even watching it on Joe Rogan. I can't remember the two writers, what their names were, but they said that most religions come from psychedelic experiences. So in the beginning of time, or when we were still kind of running around and whatnot, people would interact with, like, let's say magic mushrooms, for example, just as normal everyday food, have psychedelic experiences. And obviously that's like an out of body experience where you're seeing a lot of amazing things, and then that's how people have come to conjure up different religious experiences and knowledge, but it all comes from psychedelic experiences.
Yes, there's this book, I think it's called The Mushroom and the Cross,
Okay.
which goes into the ancient historical roots of Christianity and how it
Yes.
does come from a mushroom cult, a mushroom worshipping cult. And in fact, it's thought within psychedelic communities, within a sort of more theosophical communities, that the original Holy Grail would have actually been a cup that contained a psychedelic type drink that you would have consumed and used that to reach states in which you reach God. I have personal experience in this.
Yeah.
Both the psychedelics and the spiritual.
What have you taken?
So just to cut you off there, it's funny because it's like the Da Vinci Code. They're saying the Holy Grail was actually Jesus's Jesus's child rather than the symbolic aspect.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of deviations between the Holy Grail in biblical writing.
So much deviation.
Apparently, like, Jesus slept with the whore, which was Mary Magdalene at the time. And that's when they talk about how they took her in when he was just chopping her.
Yeah.
But sorry, go and continue.
No. I think it's really important to point out that there have been lots of different myths around the Holy Grail, and every different sect or different belief system is going to have their own idea of how what that story means, right? But to answer your question before, psilocybin, magic mushrooms.
Yes.
I've done shrooms. It was a mad thing.
What happened?
Like, alright, cool. So it was mad. It was mad. So I was with 3 people. So the first one, she's mixed race, so like your skin color. She turned like my color. She turned black for the whole experience. So she was my color for the whole experience.
Okay.
My boy's beard started growing in and out at me.
Yeah.
And then the other girl I was with, who was white, like, you have different styles of cartoons, like Disney, anime. Her face like kept turning to different styles of cartoons, like throughout, and I was just like, it was mad.
When you took these mushrooms, was it a party? What was the circumstances?
No, we were just chilling. We went to Amsterdam, so we're just went in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
We went
in Amsterdam.
But there was we stayed on this weird, like, because one of the girls is kind of hippie. She like picked this kind of hippie kind of boat that we stayed on, and I just thought there's loads of weird things around it, which I just thought the guy who just lived in it is just weird. He just likes weird sort of paintings.
Yeah.
Then when I went on a trip, I was like, this guy does shrooms on a regular, because this definitely is trippy. So you'd only have this. It has no other use than to make someone trip.
You need to come around to my house and see all of my artwork in person.
Yeah, I'll say that. But it's just weird, trippy artwork. Because I'm looking at his artwork, I'm like, this artwork's kind of dead. But then when I'm seeing it when you're tripping, I'm like,
whoa.
You're staring at it for like an hour.
It'll move. It'll come out, and you'll see different depths. And I regularly make trips to Amsterdam, and I regularly engage with psychedelics. Because it really is just mind expanding and spiritually expanding. One of the most profound spiritual experiences in my life has happened using magic mushrooms. And the reason I asked you, where were you, what did you do? Because mindset and setting the environment you're in including the people you're with, so important to be able to control this journey, because you're going on a journey. You're going into a journey into your mind. And once you start to research that more, you understand that your mind is just the local network drive. It's just an entrance into the cloud.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. It's because
That's deep. I like that.
I would not be comfortable doing that like at a festival or something. That'd give me anxiety. But the fact that I was with people that I trusted, I remember at one point during the trip, someone said something negative and our minds went to a negative place and then we snapped out of it like, no, positive. And that made me realise that if you're not in the right place, the way everyone's mind went, we were like, nah, this is dead.
Right
We went
place.
back to a positive place and we're like, yeah, okay, this is where we need to be.
Top tip, music is a literal portal. It will literally change your like brain waves. And when you start to understand music as being like a portal, when it comes to these psychedelic spiritual experiences, you understand that you will put certain music on to take you to specific places within the mind cloud.
Beard Gang members, been connecting Beard since 2019. See this dog when I first got her? Bar-led. Man, slap some of this on her. Now look at this wonderful, look at Lulu. Yeah? So you want a nice little beard, little hair growth. You don't want to look like, wait. You don't want to look like Daily, Bar-led. Sign up, get some Beard Gang members, yeah?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I really want to try mushrooms. Or
Have you never done psychedelics?
I've done nothing at all. I want to try DMT. I want to try mushrooms. I want to try acid. Like I do, because like
Those ones are mad ones.
I think back to school and when they used to show us what people on LSD move like, and it's like, but like zombies. These people are crazy, but like now you're thinking of your own conscious mind. You see things differently, and a lot of interesting people have taken it, and the experience in terms of how their mind is opened. I'm quite interested in that kind of stuff because obviously I believe in spirituality. I believe there's more than what meets the eye. But how do I get there? And these are the experiences in order to reach those points.
Well, the Reformation in the UK, which happens in the 1500s, which is sort of like a shake-up of the church. And it's thought that before that, before the shake-up of the church and the King James Bible was written...
What was the shake-up of the church, by the way? Sorry.
The shake-up was... people, you had a lot of people practicing witchcraft.
Okay.
You had a lot of people...
paganism and all that.
Yeah.
Paganism,
working with the mushrooms to interpret spirituality on their own beliefs, with their own beliefs. The shake-up of the church included translating the Bible into English, because beforehand it was just in Latin, so only the priests could read it. And in doing so, they started burning witches, which we know happened for hundreds of years. They put more of the power into the hands of the priest again to make them the arbiters of like spirituality and truth. And really it took the mushrooms, it took the paganism out of the hands of the people, which, you know, I think in East London we all use like word pagan as like, oh, you're a pagan, bro. Do you know that type of, like, it's an insult. Don't laugh at me.
Yeah.
I'm from East London. I am. I promise. But I would argue that taking the paganism away from the people of the British Isles has taken away a large aspect of their culture.
100%, and it's quite interesting because with what I was reading, that's what they kind of were getting at. It's like, it's essentially that they're treating the general public as kids but not allowing them to reach this part of the mind that allowed them to expand. For them, they said that one of the guys made an interesting point in saying in her system that he would like to impose would be, if you want to become president or prime minister of the country, you have to like go to like a psychedelic camp where you've had at least 5 of these experiences before you go back into the real world, because that allows you to interact and engage with people in a more honest and realistic way.
But politicians all lie, no? Am I missing something?
Sorry?
You said to be a politician.
Not to be like a prime minister or like a leader of a country.
But they're all liars though, so wouldn't you want to live in some kind of like fast reality?
No, so like when you have those experiences, apparently your interaction with people are much better.
Okay.
So your understanding of the world and how you fit into the world are much better. You're like, you realize that there's more than just not the self. It's an expansion of the mind. So when I was listening to all these, and that's why I really want to go on these experiences and take this trip and just see where I'm going. But for me, it's like I don't want to go on a bad trip.
I trips it.
Yeah.
I tripped. Yeah, I don't, of course, sell. He went south. I don't have link. I don't have hands up.
She's from East.
I don't actually have links like that. I could point you to a good weed guy. but no, I work with people who have like sourced this themselves and they wanting to go on these first journeys themselves, and I will come over and I will sit and I will guide the experience using Obia, like my Obia training, my Obia knowledge, to make sure to like guide the experience. There was one really profound experience that I had last year.
It's like hypnosis.
It's yeah, I guess hypnosis has roots in witchcraft.
Okay.
Now it's in psychology. Now it's neatly in psychology. A lot of the things that are neatly in psychology.
It's gone mainstream.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah, like, oh, this ain't witchcraft, this is now.
This is now.
It's a scientific study.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I will know when to push and when to pull. So if I can see someone is suffering, I'm not going to keep repeating something at them, because that will just cause the mind to spiral out. It's about digging in where I know I will be able to.
This sounds like exorcism.
It does sound like an exorcism, doesn't it? I use some herbs and whatnot, different herbs.
Sage?
No, not sage. Sage is for clearing the space.
Okay.
If there are specific energies you want to bring into the space, then
Sheep's blood. Sacrifice.
Oh my God, I'm a vegan. I must be the only vegan or be a woman out there. But no, there are sort of like different like pines or different eucalyptuses, different herbs that have different qualities and principles that I can burn to bring back certain energy into the room.
Okay.
So if they weren't feeling very protected, then I'd burn something that feels protective. So something protective might be like black pepper. Black pepper, if you think about how the plant grows, it grows with thorns. And if you were to touch that, you'd be very hurt. So we understand how it works in the physical realm, and it carries that energy spiritually.
That's mad deep.
Yeah.
So in regard to religion, yeah, because when I was reading about the psychedelic experiences, and they were saying how like with the stuff they drank, like not that they were trying to have psychedelic experiences, these things just naturally occurring in like mushrooms and fungus and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if religion is, as we understand it, a consequence of psychedelic experiences, does that make religion fake or even more real in that sense? Because it's a form of reality that some might deem real, some might deem fake.
Yeah.
But how does that translate into some of the practices? Because a lot of people have based so much of their life of people basically being high.
Yeah. And then coming around years later to say being high is wrong.
Yeah.
We're going to shut it down because it's handing that power back to the leader of that religious institution. Religion itself is the culture, to answer that.
Okay.
The religion, what you see, like the doctrine, everything that's written around it, the way to be, the way to act, that is culture. And I can talk about Christianity because it's what I know. A lot of that was designed in a way to keep people underfoot specifically. True Christianity, where you go back...
What, Ethiopia,
yeah, when you go back, that's a very different thing. That is about getting in touch with the archetype of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ being higher consciousness. And it's something that you can tap into whether you're a Christian or not, as an or be a woman. You know, I can imagine in the comment section there's going to be a lot of people saying, oh, she needs Jesus. Bitch, I found Jesus. I know how to work with Jesus.
I saw him on shrooms.
I saw him on shrooms.
I remember the last time you came when you started doing the witchcraft segment, people were like, oh, you need Jesus. Like, they started fighting you in the comments.
Fight me in the comments, man. I'm very well versed in this, both academically and spiritually.
I love it. I think it's legit stuff. But then, that's why I think it's quite interesting how people would interpret it, because one thing that Christianity has done very well to do is hide its roots in terms of in psychedelics. Because I think one of the scholars, and I'll have to get his name for after, he read certain scrolls and scripts from the Vatican, where he was able to trace back some of these. He talked about psilocybin, but there's other ones which were more prominent at the time, which may have got into the food systems, etc., for when people were farming or through the agricultural revolution.
I think you know what you're alluding to here. Interestingly, during the Salem witch trials, where everyone was being accused of being a witch, ergot
That's
was
what it is.
running through the water
Yes,
system.
yes.
Ergot is what is basically LSD.
Yeah.
How did I get running through the water system?
Through farming.
farming.
So it's just naturally occurring.
So everyone was tripping on.
Everyone's just
Yeah,
tripping.
it naturally occurs in wheat. Yeah,
So that's why everyone was getting called a witch.
yeah. Probably everyone was seeing
Yeah,
spirits.
but everyone was seeing
Yeah.
spirits. Like, I saw my mum with spirits around her head because you're tripping.
Yeah,
Yeah, everybody just got high and like you never have known.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's funny you say about getting high, but was it on Joe Rogan podcast they were talking about getting high isn't like a human phenomenon? Like they talk about how many different mammals get high.
Elephants will ferment. I mean, it's drunk, but they'll ferment fruit in their trunks, and you'll see like moose going after fruit that's fermented.
Yeah, on purpose as well to get high. Like monkeys do it as well.
Monkeys do it, yeah.
altered states of consciousness are what I prefer to call it. Getting high now has
Negative connotations, yeah.
Although I think the word is beautiful in itself. High. What's wrong with being high? What's wrong with being ascended?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. But somehow there's something wrong with that.
See, I like it. Next time I'm going to take some, I'm trying to ascend.
But isn't it,
I'm not giving how I'm ascending right now, you get me?
but isn't it if you get, is it either a dog or a cat high, they're high for their whole life because they can't metabolize the cannabinoids.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I think if you get, it's either a cat or a dog. If you get high, they're high for its whole life. They can't metabolize the cannabinoids. I remember like one brother I was at uni, they used to hotbox the room. I think it was a cat all the time. Like, you know when a cat falls off like the fence, it would like
Are you
land
sure
on its
the
feet.
cat wasn't just permanently high?
Yeah.
Permanently
No,
hotboxed.
the cat would like fall off the fence and it wouldn't land on its feet. It was just like boof, like both.
Man.
Just hit the floor.
Just lost all composure.
He's just a high cat.
Baby. That's so sad.
It's a good life though.
Or
What,
just to be high
cat?
to what's happening.
Do you want to be reborn in the next life as a cat that's constantly being hotboxed?
Yeah. It's not the
Be
worst
careful
thing.
what you put into the universe.
Yeah, I hear that. That brings me on to another thing. My mum used to do this thing, yeah, because they grew up in Mauritius. There was no, like, Atari, no games, yeah. So they used to get chameleons, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you put a cigarette in a chameleon's mouth,
Yeah.
it will burn the cigarette and then its head will explode because it will just fill up with the fumes.
Is
and the
that
head
real?
yeah, my mum said they used to game, like, there used to be a village game. They used to get, like, light cigarette, you know, like 10, 12
That
here. I don't
can't
know
be
what it has-
real.
Put it in a chameleon's mouth, like.
No one try this at home, please.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of those Instagram viral things that go viral. You know when you try something and in the comments are like, I beg you no one try it.
Well, you know what I'll do for the story? I'll get my mum to explain the story and I'll put it on Insta stories. On our Insta stories.
No, but I want
put
to
it
see
in
this.
So you put it in their mouth, like it was like a fuck game. You put it, and then the head would just explode. They just carry on burning the cigarette.
It's not going to be online.
Do you know what? These things have their own will and volition, and maybe we shouldn't be doing that.
Yes. So what?
But you
do
know them island stories, like you know when she's telling me
Yeah,
these
I
islands,
know,
like,
I know,
people on
I
the
know.
island just do weird shit. Just like, that
for
was the
real.
entertainment.
When
just-
I went to Antigua, I saw like one of my like distant cousins. Like, I was just talking to him, and like, fist down, and he's like got a lizard like squished the thing.
yeah, just normal.
It's just like a
yeah,
bug.
people up north go cow tipping.
No, they
Yeah, that's
don't.
quite funny though.
No, they don't.
Yeah, cow tipping is funny still.
Is that an actual?
Yeah, because cows can't get anything. Like, "Mrr," whoosh.
Yeah, so or she was one girl was telling me that basically cows sleep standing up. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah,
so,
they do.
So they sleep standing up. So whilst they're asleep, they'd walk up and just like push the cow over.
And they can't get up, bro.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
Don't
things people
do
do for
that.
entertainment, didn't it? Like,
don't tip cows. They have hard enough lives as it is.
Unless they're Hindu in the Hindu community, they have good lives.
Yeah, they're very blessed and
Mm-hmm.
revered, and it goes back to these roots of like mushrooms again. I think we're probably talking about the same Joe Rogan episode with
probably
Paul,
there
with
was
Paul
two guys on it, and there was one guy from the UK, another guy he was from, and he was like he was a lawyer who studied like different linguistic, because he spoke like 5 different languages. So he spoke like Hindu and then other, like, and then but then when he was breaking it all down, it was very complex, but it was very interesting, like in how when you was talking about ergot and how in these psychedelic experiences, people are able to see things and note down things that you wouldn't normally see. So like one of the examples is that you can't draw nothing you've never seen. So how do these people, like, if you look at the Mayan temples, they draw stuff like of people coming down from the skies, different things happening. How are they able to come to these conclusions with just the average experience of life? There had to be something more. So they're saying that with these psychedelic experiences, people are able to conjure up stuff like half man, half animal, like what centaurs and all that kind of stuff. That stuff you wouldn't have been able to think of normally unless you'd had certain experiences.
They exist in the other plane, the other realm. I really want to like point out that with these sort of psychedelic experiences, we use the word hallucinate. I hate that word because it indicates that you're seeing something that's not there.
Okay, this is interesting.
I strongly affirm, and it's not I believe, I trust that these things take you into seeing through the veil, take you into seeing the other realm.
So is it alternative realities? Is it different dimensions? Like what is the other realm?
Think of all of this like layered on top of like one reality on top of another on top of another. We've got this physical one here, and then we've got other layers that are layered on top. So there are spirits around us that we will interact with us, but in ways that maybe we don't see, maybe we don't know because we're not paying attention to it. Which is why I asked you, like, the lady who was last here, was she sat here? Because I was able to start reeling off astrological facts to you. I'm not an astrologist. But I can tell you, you'll go off and look at these things and you'll see, oh, like, right, that's consistent with what is said about this. There are certain energies that you can pick up on. And when you start to learn how to tap into this, once you work with psychedelics with intention in the right certain setting, and I say with intention because you have to have intention. You have to go in saying, I'm going into this wanting to understand more about my intuition, about spirituality. Once you have all of that,
that's why I would want to do it.
Yeah, you're able to tap into
I want to think of things in the deep. I just want my eyes to be open. I want to really open my third eye.
Yeah.
I really want to see it. But then having said that, if all these realities are consistent and they're real and not hallucinations, can me and you sit in the same room and go off into the same dimension, same plane? Can we experience the same thing on this trip?
I've been on journeys with friends and we've all come back from the different journeys, like gone off into our corners of the room, covered ourselves with blankets, like being completely isolated, no contact.
Oh, so you don't have that cohesion together. You just go on your own solo trip and just sit down.
I like to kind of direct it to solo trips and then coming back together. And normally when I do that and then you come back together, it's a lot of the same thing that people are experiencing, are talking about, especially if they've got similar intentions being set, which to me is just mind-blowing.
Well, couldn't you say that's that particular batch of drugs that you've taken which makes you feel in a certain way?
Well, if we're talking about the mushrooms and the mushrooms being a spirit in itself, in OBL, we would believe that to have a spirit and volition of itself, then yeah, I guess this living being is directing everyone in the room to a similar sort of place. It's like a portal to another place within the mind.
Can I see you in this different place? So like me and you take a hit of DMT right now. Why? Yeah? I'm not gonna be like, yo, Jay, we tend to be like, I'm gonna link you somewhere else, like over in Scotland, like.
I guess we're talking about this idea of like soul flight. I've never worked with DMT as yet. So
as yet, I like that.
as yet, I'm open to it.
Okay.
The mushrooms, I haven't ever seen someone exactly.
Okay.
But we've all reported being or seeing the same place.
See, 'cause I think that's what would make it that much realer for me. And I mentioned this on the last episode when we spoke with Kim, and there was a guy that done DMT, and he did it in Hyde Park.
Why would you do that?
That's mad, isn't it?
Literally,
it's mad.
And that was the first time he ever did it as well. But he said he trusted the people he was with.
The worst experiences I
Who are these people?
I literally met him at work. We just got to talking.
London is rank energy to begin with. Let's start with that. There are too many angry, stressed out.
He's from St Albans, actually. No, he was born in London. He was born in like Mile End and moved to St Albans. So he's on your block now.
You might see him in Clarence Park just doing shrooms and that.
No, but like he said he took the hit of DMT and he went from the kind of 3D world perspective and he left his body. He could see like he laid down straight away. He could see himself lying down, but he existed within the same reality, but just from a bird's eye view. So he could see everything he could see as a being on the ground, but from a heightened.
That sounds about right.
So
Soul
to me,
flight.
yeah. So I was like, he to him it was fake. I was like, how could it be fake when you could see this thing before you took the hit? I can see Brizzy, but now I can see Brizzy from up there,
Yeah.
and I can see myself laying down, and I can see everything.
Well,
but then when I came back into my body, I still existed within that same reality.
Yeah.
That had to be real. That can't be a hallucination. That can't be fake. But at the same time, what would make it more real? Let's say me and Daly take that hit now, and we're both looking at each other's bodies laying down, and we're both like, "Yo, brother, look where you fell asleep. You're dribbling." Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what would make. But like, that's where the discrepancy between reality and potential hallucination might be problematic for me.
I get that. You want proof that something
I
is
wanna know
real.
it's real.
And as an Aries, that is your right to know, damn it. You need to know it is tangible.
No, so
Otherwise,
I
you do
want it
not
to be
believe.
real, but I'm not going to accept it and talk about it like it's real unless I know definitively that is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe for some people it does take a bit of a seeing to believe, I guess. But, going back to this like explanation I've given at the beginning of like having your local drive and the cloud's drive, just because like you're in two different experiences and you've entered the cloud through a different private drive, like you may not see the same thing there. You may not even be in a different part, in the same part in the cloud drive.
Yeah.
You might be exploring different things entirely. If you are on the same wavelength, the same vibration, I'm using these words very intentionally, not like woke. Like if you're in that same physical brainwave state, then you will have a greater chance of ending up in the same place. And you know, I practice Obia, and when I'm working with like Obia initiates, we're often led by like the leader on these like spiritual journeys. So you're talked through a journey, so you are specifically landing at the exact same place. So there can be direction to these things. However, it's not always going to play out that way. And believe me, when you experience this, you will understand that it will just throw your idea out of like what is real, what needs to be real, what you need to see.
I imagine it will. I'm already sold. I'm already sold. That like for me, it's just these things that have already happened. Time just doesn't caught up yet. I've already had these experiences. I'm just waiting for time to catch up. That's literally what it is. But again, if I want to, when I talk about it, I'm gonna be excited. I know how excited I am to have these experiences, but at the same time, I don't want to have them and think, nah, it wasn't real. It was just all in my head. I want to have them and be like, bruh, that was mad.
When I had it, I was just like, this was a trip for a moment. I didn't get any spiritual
awakening.
Did you set an intention?
I didn't know. I just did. But I think if I had gone with like trying to understand myself, I think I would have learned something. It's because what made me realise that is because when the conversation flipped to negative, how everyone went into negative and really honed in, and then we went to positive, it was just fun again.
What's interesting, you all went into negative at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because someone would have said something negative. We all focus on it. Then someone must have said, "No, this is getting way too negative." And then they were like, "Yeah." And we talk about that. We're all on that. So you can all mirror each other's energy in that time.
What are these crystals for?
This is a clear quartz. This one is a cluster of clear quartzes, and it's for general like amplification of positive energy. It's the best way I can put it. God, it sounds so wanky, doesn't it?
You felt like a proper vegan when you said that.
Proper chi hugger.
Do you know what? I love what I do, but I hate a lot of
talk about it. Yeah.
The way that we talk about it is just so stupid. Whatever. This one is aventurine, citrine, and amethyst. Amethyst being for the third eye.
I knew you were going to say third eye at some point. I knew it was coming.
Yeah, it's another one of those words. The aventurine and the citrine for attracting money. This is
I
what
need
Attractive
that. I
money.
need that still. Where do I get one of these?
it's really quite interesting. Every time I do sit intentionally at my altar and work with a specific crystal and like really put my focus onto what I'm looking to achieve,
It manifests.
things happen. Like,
Why do you do the money one all the time? That's why I'll just be banging it.
you can overheat it. You see, this is going into manifestation. You can't overheat your intentions. Can you imagine if I needed something from you and I just kept pestering you and pestering and pestering you? You're eventually going to be like, do you know what, I'm done. Leave
So
me
it's-
alone.
Yeah.
So for the people that are like naturally broke boys, is that no hope for them because they're already overheated?
When you burn out their crystal.
I think a good place to start with is manifesting, and I really want people of the African diaspora to understand this because it's so liberating. There is an abundance within the world, within the universe, of anything you want. Unfortunately, it exists in few hands. We can start to spiritually attune ourselves to abundance and draw it towards us and make our way out of situations that, you know, aren't fulfilling, aren't purposeful. And you know what? Being broke is not purposeful for me.
Why?
Because I've already learned the lessons that have come with being broke.
Alright, you being broke, you know what? I've been there, got the t-shirt sort of thing.
I've learned what I can learn from being broke. So I'm now looking to attune myself for different experiences that align with not being broke.
I get that because even when there's certain aspects of pain with upbringing, you're like, okay, I've gone through that pain. I've got the hardship lesson. I'm driven now.
Yeah,
I don't need to go. I
do
don't need to
that
go
again.
back to that place.
No.
This is why I don't jump in and out relationships.
Yeah.
Man's experienced heartache and I don't want to go through that again, bro. Yeah. I want to go to a spiritual retreat though. I think I want to go to like a I don't know, like a monk's temple. Just get high. No, ascend.
Well, it sounds. I
Elevation.
think a really good one that I really wanna understand more about this. In Gabon, there's a root called Iboga.
Gabon,
not
Gabon the
Ebola.
country. Gabon the country. Yeah, sorry, go on.
I thought you said Ebola.
No, not Ebola. Iboga.
Okay.
Iboga.
Iboga.
And
Iboga.
Eboga.
it's like a whole 10-day initiation, and apparently it's really tough, where it is this sort of psychoactive substance where you are learning those dark and dirty lessons about yourself, and it like catapults you into a whole new knowing about yourself.
You see with psychedelics, you know, like for example, if you smoke weed, your body feels different. Does your body feel different on these psychedelics, or is it
Yeah.
just you're visually?
Any altered state of consciousness, and I say any altered state of consciousness, sugar is an altered state of consciousness, meat is an altered state of consciousness. But because we have a society, because we have an English language that isn't used to talking about energies and altered states of consciousness, we don't really have this in our psyche. So with that in mind, you do feel different things on different substances. So with the LSD, there's a different body feel, a different mind feel. To the mushrooms, there's a different body feel, a different mind feel. How long they last in the body, that's different. Iboga's going to have apparently it's got a very, like, I mean, heavy in terms of like, it's really important stuff you're learning under Iboga, under this 10-day initiation. It's really heavy stuff you're learning about yourself. Ayahuasca, that has a different feel in itself. You know, so any plant you interact with is going to have a different consciousness it brings to you.
Boy, I'm excited for that, boy. But boy, interesting again as always. But we need to round up.
We need to round up.
We are out of time.
Plug yourself again if you've got anything.
Yeah. Jay Percy, the artist. I'm actually a co-host of the Afro Animist podcast.
Just
Which will
finally
feature
out
soon.
now.
They'll be featuring on here soon, very soon.
Yeah, I'll be bringing my co-host Nicola. She's also an Obia woman.
Two Obi women now.
To Obia woman.
The space is growing.
Yes. Where we talk all about spirituality, and what we talk about mainly is like the mundane stuff and how that relates to the spiritual.
I think we need to do something on psychedelics, like specifically focus
Yeah,
on
I think psychedelics.
But I think we should all do it come together and then talk about it.
Yeah.
I think that would be a mad thing.
I ain't
Like
done it
just
for a
shrooms.
while. I ain't done it for a while. Yeah.
Just bang shrooms whenever we want to do it, whatever, and then just come and just like
And everyone in the
chat
comments
about
bang
it. 'Cause
shrooms as
I
well.
want to talk from a place of experience, a place of knowledge, not just like
Yeah.
potential or he say, she say. I want to know, okay, this is what I experienced.
Well, if you ever want to sit ceremony, you can do psychedelics or you can sit ceremony. If you ever want to sit ceremony,
What's sitting ceremony?
it's more what I find more like it's more impactful. You've done mushrooms. Sitting ceremony is like the burning of the herbs.
Oh,
it's
with
the
a
setting
purpose.
intentions. It's the purposeful.
I just done
ceremony.
shrooms with the mandem.
Yeah.
This is a bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sitting ceremony is probably the only way I would recommend doing it. But then I'm biased, so
You're vegan.
yeah.
Nah, I'll try it.
But thank you once again.
love for coming on.
Like, share, and subscribe. Signing out. Make sure on Spotify to leave a review as well. Don't just watch and not show the mandem love.
Yeah.